On January 28th of 2023, the biggest YouTuber ever, MrBeast, released one of his most controversial videos. Moving beyond the scope of being just a regular YouTuber and going into the realm of the divine, MrBeast cured 1,000 people of blindness. In his greatest act of philanthropy yet, MrBeast seemingly used the infinite money glitch of Google AdSense revenue to make his single greatest contribution to people who needed it most. But this act of charity was not received with universal praise.
You watch this video, you go, oh, how cute and how nice. I watched the video and I'm filled with rage. It's up to like one YouTube guy to like decide to make content out of it that like the people who are too poor can't just fucking see.
It's very much centered on him and his charity rather than the big issue. Like, it feels like a pretty privileged position to throw around so much money to these issues.
The problem that I have is that MrBeast exploits a lot of different people in order to produce content, and also produces content in situations that are just downright despicable.
The leftist Twitterati who still hadn't left Twitter despite Elon Musk's takeover were quick to condemn MrBeast for his acts of altruism. To them, it just felt gross and the ultimate sign of a broken capitalist system where a seemingly debilitating condition was so easily fixable but completely unavailable due to economic reasons. But the entire spectacle of filming it with the typical MrBeast style of Zoomer internet comedy just rubbed them the wrong way, and to me, I can understand why. There's something inherently icky about MrBeast's content. It took a great deal of soul searching, but I found the answer why it seems to rub people the wrong way, and I found it back in a lesson from my old Hebrew school. So now join me as I do what so many others have failed to do. I will utilize the power of my Judaism to finally destroy MrBeast. You gotta love to be gone back yet. Love just until I don't you grab it. MrBeast is an interesting figure. He's easily the most successful and currently most beloved YouTube personality of all time. The boy who always dreamed of making it big and turning YouTube into his full-time career, and through his drive and dedication on unlocking the secret formula of success, he managed to achieve his great dream with a channel that has over 170 million subscribers and over 30 billion views at the time of this writing. He grew that audience by doing outlandish stunts like counting to 100,000, filling his brother's house with slime, but what truly unlocked the key to success was when he started handing out exorbitant amounts of sponsor money to homeless people on the street. MrBeast had seemingly found the ultimate infinite content and infinite money glitch through his philanthropic content machine. He gives away huge amounts of money in video stunts for challenges. He seemingly comes into the lives of random people, much like a digital Santa Claus hands out life-changing amounts of cash. And despite his size, MrBeast has little to no controversies. It seems like every other day some minor B-list 100K YouTuber gets into some perverse scandal, cheating, infidelity, drug abuse, soliciting minors. Every day a new drama seems to drop from people who lack any kind of self-awareness. But MrBeast is largely completely clean, with the closest thing to controversy being that a few people who worked for him were fired, but he's still largely beloved by the YouTube community at large. The closest time he ever came to cancellation was when a former editor claimed that he wasn't super nice and was kinda mean behind the scenes. But slightly mean or mildly toxic at this point seems to be a badge of honor in a highly competitive work environments in places like Amazon or Netflix. And seeing the high level that MrBeast produces videos at, a high pressure work environment would just come with the territory for a channel of his size and the kinds of ambitious videos he makes. But when you're as successful and ubiquitous as MrBeast, that puts a large target on your back. People want to see you take a fall, and I've seen a few breadtubers try to take MrBeast down for being the gross exploitive capitalist that he is.
But MrBeast is part of a larger story, the story of American capitalism, corporate profit and politics.
What we can see through MrBeast is not speculation, but a perfect postmodern example of how capitalist mythology is manufactured, how it hangs together and shapes all of our lives.
Everyone acts like the same guy, and you know what? I think you can blame this all on MrBeast. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna take him down. It's more about the effect that his sheer existence has had on this website. I feel like at a time like this, where a video like this can be created and also get a lot of views,
I wanted to see the poorest people in the poorest country.
There's somewhat of a need to stop for a second and ask ourselves, what the hell is going on?
He uses these situations to grow his channel, and then it is in very poor taste a lot of the time where he will give a certain amount of money to someone who is in desperate need of it, before then going to spend about $500,000 on something ridiculous like the world's biggest firework. And although it's not totally known where all his money comes from, people think, and he says, it's mostly from brand deals, I'm just going to talk how it's in pretty poor taste during what is going on in the world currently at the moment to be throwing around so much money on ridiculous stuff, which is often very wasteful stuff that can never be used again or can never be sold again, and then talk about why his content is sort of exploitative, just like traditional game shows back in the day.
But none of these attacks or critiques ever stick. People still come to his defense. Even beloved commentators and personalities like Charlie of Moist Critical fame clap back with the defense that Mr. Beast is still giving money away.
But it also spawned tons of controversy, which isn't surprising at all. I'm sure everyone saw that coming. This wasn't a shocking revelation. It was about as surprising as learning that poop smells bad. Everyone has to be mad about something, no matter how positive it is. He makes this video, he pays for all of these surgeries, and he gets blasted on Twitter for it by a large group of people, and the only way they were able to get it is because Mr. Beast wanted to make a video out of it. That's a very real problem, but it's a problem Mr. Beast didn't create. He's not the supervillain puppet master behind the scenes making these treatments unaffordable. This is so weird to target him. It seems very misguided instead of going after the actual issue at the core of all of this. But I ask, is that a bad thing? For so long, people have called for positive role models to be the people that are successful and popular. And now you have someone like Mr. Beast, who is the biggest YouTuber, and almost all of his content is focused on improving other people's lives, whether it's directly through financial incentives, through Mr. Beast philanthropy, food kitchens, paying for 1,000 people's eyesight. Isn't that the exact kind of content you would want to be successful?
But I am here to do what the gemein might of leftist breadtube could not. I am here to cancel Mr. Beast once and for all, because I have found the true formula to bring him down. It ties into the deep principle I learned long ago while attending Hebrew school at my synagogue of Ner Tamid, the same synagogue that coincidentally was almost nearly firebombed a few months ago.
A lot of things that I love about Hitler.
Thanks, Kanye! But despite the minor threat of rapper-based religious persecution, I've found the chink in Mr. Beast's armor. So you might be wondering, what Jewish principle am I going to use? Is it the 10 Commandments?
These 15! 10 Commandments!
Am I going to throw the 5 books of the Torah at him? Am I going to make him a Jew in space?
We're Jews out in space, we're zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race. We're Jews out in space, zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race.
No, what I have is the Jewish custom of tzedakah, which is the Hebrew word meaning righteousness, but is typically used to signify charity. But the big difference between tzedakah and your usual run-of-the-mill charity is that it's an ethical obligation, a religious vow to do the right thing and support causes regardless of one's own financial standing. But just giving away stuff or giving a poor homeless person on the street a few cents or something to eat isn't quite enough. For you see, in Judaism, there are different levels or tiers of tzedakah. So let's talk about the 8 tiers of giving as conceived by Torah scholar Moses ben Maimon, or Maimonides. A famed Jewish scholar from the Middle Ages, he came up with his breakdown of tzedakah into 8 tiers. So tier 8 is the lowest form of giving, when you're giving out of sadness or pity. It's not the best though, because you're doing it out of pity instead of a sense of religious obligation or moral obligation. It's seen as degrading for both you and the person receiving the help.
Now what we're looking for are motivated, hard-working, homeless gentlemen like yourselves to pull rickshaws.
You want to check out his YouTube channel?
Moving on, we got tier 7. This is when you're giving someone a handout willingly, but you're not giving them enough. You're like, here's a little something, but it's not going to fully cover all the things you need.
A donation has been made in your name to the Children's Alliance. I got him Yankee tickets. He got me a piece of paper saying I've given your gift to someone else. Don't you see how wrong that is? Where's your Christmas spirit? An eye for an eye!
Tier 6 is when you give enough, but only after someone asks for it. So you're like, sure, I'm going to help you out, but you got to ask me first. It's nice to respond when someone reaches out, but it's a form of lazy charity that isn't quite proactive.
Here's your big salad. Thank you, Julie. Oh, you're very welcome.
Well, she didn't buy the big salad. I bought the big salad. She just took credit for my salad.
Tier 5 is when you give someone help before they even ask for it. You're anticipating their needs and lending a hand before they even have to ask.
What is it? What is it?
It's a sewing machine. It's a sewing machine. It's a sewing machine! I love it, I love it, I love it.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Larry.
Get a life, Jews.
Tier 4 is all about giving to an unknown recipient. You don't even know who's going to benefit from your charity. It's like a blind act of kindness, trusting that your help will reach the right person who needs it most.
A donation has been made in your name to the Human Fund. What is that?
Made it up.
The Human Fund. Money for people.
What is this? The Human Fund. Whatever. Exactly.
Tier 3, this is when you give anonymously to people you know. You're like a secret benefactor helping out your friends or community members without them knowing it was you. It's all about preserving their dignity and keeping things low-key.
I'm supposed to find a charity and throw some of the company's money at it. They all seem the same to me, so what's the difference?
$20,000?
Made out to the Human Fund.
Tier 2 has you giving anonymously to people you don't know, but you're doing it through a fund or charitable institution. It's kind of like being an undercover donor, making sure that your help gets to the right place without any personal recognition. Well, unless you decide to tell people.
Larry David.
Huh?
That's great.
Never had a wing before.
I know.
What is that? Wing donated by Anonymous. I'm not crazy about that. Now it just looks like I did mine for the credit.
I know who it is.
Nobody told me that I could be anonymous and tell people. I would have taken that option. Oh yeah, there's Larry David, the guy who has to have his name up on the wall, as opposed to Mr. Anonymous.
And finally, we reach the highest tier, Tier 1. This is where you're just not giving handouts, but you're forming partnerships and empowering people to be self-sufficient. You give them interest-free loans, help them stand on their own feet, so they no longer have to rely on you or others. It's giving them a real chance at independence. It's the classic teach a man to fish, and he won't ever go hungry parable put into action.
And while Larry was the first to open a Spite store, he's since started a trend here in Hollywood.
What changed was I had seen Latte Larry's. The idea of a Spite store is such a brilliant idea. I'm going to open a Spite deli.
This is Ray's Exotic Birds, and this is Sean's.
I had always wanted a talking bird, so I go to Ray, and he sells me the bird. The bird doesn't talk, just sort of grunts. Because he knew it was a mute bird. And Larry opens up the coffee place, and it was like ding, ding, ding. Put Ray right out of business.
Shut up!
As you can imagine, by the tiers of Jewish charity, most of what Mr. Beast does is at level 8. It is the lowest form of charity, or tzedakah, because he's giving in sadness, finding people with sob stories, handing them money for a temporary respite from their financial burdens, all in the name of building a perpetual motion machine and a never-ending internet clout and Google AdSense money, all while filming it. I think people have for a very long time been growing especially tired of the high-energy style of personality-based YouTuber content, a genre that has been referred to as junk lord YouTubers, essentially people who buy massive proportions of junk so they can flex it in the title or the thumbnail. It's the type of stuff that was pioneered by people like Logan Paul. It's just intrusive and obnoxious and seemingly has little to no actual substance.
Focus Chocolate Factory in real life. We're spending the next 100 hours in go-kart.
I gathered some of my friends, and whichever one of us builds the craziest Minecraft item to impress.
In this briefcase, I have $25,000. There are 10 YouTubers, and I have 5 playing Squid Game. Here's one of my favorite YouTubers.
That's Mr. Beast Island.
And while you could say Mr. Beast collectively has done more good with his Team Trees and Team C's charity initiatives to clean up the ocean and plant more trees, the fact that it's all wrapped around this kind of smug, humble brag showboating of extreme wealth can be very off-putting. Here was a viral tweet. There is something so demonic about this, and I can't even articulate what it is. It's hard to articulate why, but I think the different levels of tzedakah can sort of help us explain why his philanthropy feels so icky. On one hand, he's doing the kind of thing we claim to want to see millionaires do, but by the same token, it's because he's giving out of sadness and pity, and not only that, he's also filming it, self-aggrandizing himself as the 20-something savior of the working class. It just feels tacky and spiritually hollow. It makes these poor working class people feel like nothing more than commodities to be used to manufacture viral moments.
And as much cash as you can carry, you can keep. I don't care if you put it in your pockets, in your hoodie, in your pants, in your shoes.
When do I go?
Now.
Now?
It starts now.
Oh my God, what can I do with all this money?
Stuff it in every crevice you got.
I'd buy that for $1.
People put on display for mass pity, and the idea of a big project like when he recreated Squid Games IRL seemed to be just so goddamn tone deaf, especially since the whole theme of the TV show was about rich billionaires exploiting the lifeblood of the poor for their own fickle amusement. And to recreate that just to plug a mobile video game Brawl Stars?
And while they're fighting for their chance in this competition, I want to tell you guys about Brawl Stars, who helped fund this video, which cost over $3.5 million. Did anyone? Oh, we got some! Congratulations! It's 3 minutes of adrenaline-filled mayhem, and they have 12 different game modes, including their own battle royale. You said you played Brawl Stars?
We both did.
Oh, you both played Brawl Stars? What are your thoughts on Brawl Stars?
That's pretty fun. It's a mobile game. You can download it on Android or Apple.
I didn't tell him to say this. As you can see, you see the Brawl Stars logo, he did it. If you haven't already, go download it. If you yell, "Thank you, Brawl Stars," before you throw, I hear you'll flip it. Thank you, Brawl Stars! Oh, it worked for him! Oh my God, it's true! Thank you, Brawl Stars.
And not even making the effort to put in the work to be able to pronounce the full name of its original creator, Hwang Dong-hyuk's name properly in his thank you.
And obviously, massive shout out to the creator of Squid Game. We took huge inspiration from the show, and I genuinely appreciate you. Goodbye.
Just feels like the height of unearned, self-entitled arrogance. It's made worse when you have his cadre of friends hanging around goofing off, the epitome of privileged white boys using their collective internet clout to force poor people to struggle for their meager cash rewards that will not provide them with long-lasting opportunity or stability. It feels like poverty tourism that also encourages the viewer to partake in the spectacle by gawking at these manufactured emotional moments. It was this moral rot that was articulated by Maimonides so many centuries before. It's what makes Mr. Beast seem kind of sleazy for filming his great philanthropic efforts of helping people to cure blindness or give them hearing aids. The idea that you must offer up your broken body to be used for charity in a perpetual content farm. Kind of flexing his internet wealth and constantly forcing people to promote his brands, like in this clip where he tips a waitress a brand new car.
What's the biggest tip you've ever gotten?
Like 50.
$50?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever tipped a car?
Oh my, are you serious? You're
Yeah.
lying. This is a car key. This is not a car.
You want to see it? It's outside. Let's go. Right over here, you'll see your brand new car.
Are you serious?
Yes. Oh wow, I wasn't expecting you to cry.
I mean, this isn't real.
No, it is real. Just hit the unlock button, see if it makes noise.
I was literally late to work today because the Uber was so early. I'm like panicking. I can't even.
But the car is emblazoned with the logo of his candy company, Feastables, turning her transportation into a forever billboard for Mr. Beast's chocolate company. But is this really so different from what's come before?
Everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package, and I don't want you to open it. Do not open it. Cameras are on you, so do not open until I tell you. All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3. You get a car! 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 You get a car!
Daytime television and game shows have forever been built around the premise of giving blue-collar working-class people prizes and gifts to create content. What Mr. Beast is doing is no different than what's been on television for decades. There's an infamous show from many years ago called Queen for a Day. It started out as a radio program that started in 1945 but transitioned onto TV. The format of the show would typically have poor women come on and plead their sob stories.
What's the matter with old John?
Well, he's crippled up with cerebral palsy.
Is that so?
Yes, sir.
Quite a while. How can we help John?
Well, he needs a wheelchair and he needs a special bike for exercising.
Had you promised him this by any chance?
Yes, I had.
Well, why didn't you keep the promises, Ma?
Well, I had to go to the hospital and have my legs operated on and had to quit working and
What were you doing?
weightless work.
Oh, boy.
25 years of it.
25 years, and that did it to your leg.
Sure did.
If you're our queen, we're going to get a wheelchair and a special bike, okay?
Thank you.
You keep well yourself. Goodbye, Viva. Thank you very much. What would you like if you're queen for a day?
I would like to have a vacation, which I haven't had, because I had 2 handicapped sons. I lost them, and then I took care of an elderly lady in a wheelchair. She passed away, my mother and my father, and 1 month after my father, my husband passed away. And I feel that I would like to have a vacation, which I haven't been able to have because I have to work.
All your life seems like there is nobody had more bad luck than you have. No, we'll take care of that. We'll send you someplace where they'll feed you, okay?
Thank you.
Well, thank you, and lots of good luck to you, Mrs. Sulker. You must be a very brave lady. You go there with old Ed. I think you're one of the most deserving ones out there because of the number of years you've been a cosmetologist. How long you been bending hair?
43 years. When I retire, I would like to live at Fawn Skin in Big Bear Valley.
Now, what did I tell you when you told me you thought you'd retire?
You want to know when I was going to retire.
And then I said, I don't think you are. What's the biggest tip you ever got?
Oh, I think about $1.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
After 43 years?
Yeah, not so good, maybe.
Well, we better fix that. Riley, Ed, Baker, Grigger. After 43 years, this lady should have one good tip. Give me $1 here. Come on. Everybody, give me $1. Give me $1. Give me $1. Oh, all right. Come on, give me $1. Well, there's about $6. Thank you. Get out of here. Thank you very much.
They would be tales of woe, financial hardship, medical conditions, chronically ill children, dead husbands. And as each of these women pleaded their sob story, the audience would applaud. And whoever had the most heartbreaking story and could generate the greatest applause won and would be draped with a sable-trimmed red velvet robe and given a jeweled crown and put up on a throne as music played with thundering pomp and circumstance, with them usually breaking down in tears as their financial needs were met by the aid of show sponsors. Each broadcast ended with the host Jack Bailey giving his signature sign-off phrase.
We wish we could make every lady in America queen for every single day. Bye. Thank you.
The entire thing was a gross consumerist spectacle, the kind of thing if you showed it to modern audiences, they'd probably gasp in disbelief that something like this could have ever existed. The idea of exploiting people's hardship for profit and cynical advertisements. Veteran television writer Mark Evanier described it as one of the most ghastly shows ever produced. Tasteless, demeaning to women, demeaning to anyone who watched it, cheap, insulting, and utterly degrading to the human spirit.
Beginning with this amazing new Revere still camera. Now, the camera that does all the thinking for you automatically is yours. And with the Revere, all you have to do is aim at something.
You want an iPhone?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yo, I love the costume. Here's an iPhone.
Thank you.
For your wish, Your Majesty, we'll also be going on a royal whirl of Hollywood with stops at such glamorous places as the Brown Derby for lunch with the movie and television stars, a personalized tour of Universal International Studios, dinner in the elegant splendor of the plush Sportsman's Lodge, and finally, the late show at the Crescendo starring Bob Newhart.
Are you subscribed to Mr. Beast?
I am.
Prove it. Oh, he just hung up on his mom. He literally just hung up on his mom. All right, the moment of truth is he subscribed, and he is. What are you doing the next 2 days?
School's about to start up.
Going to Disneyland. I'll get you a ticket.
Oh, shoot. No, wait.
Stop to Mr. Beast! $100 worth of any kind of clothes you want. And while we're talking about hundreds, here's another $100 for him to use just any old way he pleases. Congratulations to you, and best wishes now for a thrilling race.
Would you rather have this $10,000 in cash or this key that goes to something expensive? You have 10 seconds to decide.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The key.
It was a show that glorified poverty porn in showing the most misbegotten and downtrodden people in our midst while plotting their misfortune in a grim spectacle of trying to appease sponsors. A literal Hunger Games where poor women would cry and beg for sponsored endorsement. And it's this spectacle that was continued forward in the digital age, like when Mr. Beast had 100 kids compete with 100 adults in an endurance contest, or most recently hosted 100 people, each aged from 1 to 100, as they were forced into a Squid Game endurance match to see who could last the longest in a perverted but less lethal reimagining of the Darwinian Squid Game competition. They were even wearing red jumpsuits that looked like they were ripped right off from the Squid Game Season 2 wardrobe. I've seen people argue that Mr. Beast is doing what we wish most millionaires would be doing, to spend their money in a positive direction and directly help and contribute to people. I think what puts people off is seeing him use the blue-collar working-class folks as props in an infinite content farm. There's just something inherently cynical about random acts of kindness used to keep the engines going on a never-ending, always expanding content machine. I think what's fundamentally different is the sort of immature storytelling. A lot of Mr. Beast content feels like stuff a 5-year-old would do if they had access to an infinite supply of internet money. So you got Mr. Beast and his goofy friends going on expensive airplanes and yachts and hotels, enjoying everything you can get in the lap of extreme luxury. Or you have his friends goofing off and tormenting subjects of his extreme challenge videos, like the one where the guy is stuck in a circle in a house in the middle of nowhere, or the guy who's just stuck in isolation in a room and has various entertaining things removed each day. And if you're older and not a child, you just kind of hate it, since it just feels like the ultimate form of obnoxious entitled privilege. This is only exacerbated by the big animated subtitles, fast edits, and blaring cinematic trailer music. Then you have other videos where he needlessly breaks stuff, like the most recent video where he dumped a train into a giant hole that just feels like an empty spectacle with no substance. It's this kind of vacuous empty calories that's off-putting to so many people, and when you have just regular blue-collar people who are used like props, even if they go away and they're given some kind of cash reward, they're still thrown to the wolves, left to fend for themselves amongst the torrid wasteland of American capitalism. $10,000 is nice, but it's not enough to really change someone's life. It's just a temporary reprieve from the constant financial pressures of modern life. This video isn't going to stop Mr. Beast's empire. I just wanted to use what I learned way back in Hebrew school to explain why so many people find his philanthropy so off-putting. Maybe if he took a college class, he'd better understand why things like this thumbnail where he's the literal white savior of an African village tend to get people to bring out the pitchforks. Maybe then he'd sort of gain a better sense of maturity towards his storytelling and at least some semblance of tact. But by the same token, he's the most successful independent YouTuber, so in terms of succeeding on the platform, nobody's doing it better than him right now. So very few people can give him any kind of legitimate advice when his creative decisions are always right on the money. But I think the ethical values of Jewish tzedakah can help better understand why so many people seem put off by his philanthropic efforts. By the same token, I don't think following the different tiers of tzedakah would make for a very successful YouTube channel. So Mr. Beast, since us Jews don't really believe in hell, at least not the classic devil with pitchfork, fire, and brimstone form of hell, I must sentence you to another punishment. The worst punishment my people have to offer. For the crimes against the Jewish tenets of tzedakah, Mr. Beast, I sentence you to 10 minutes in an elevator with Larry David.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought they would make it a little further.
I'm sorry?
This guy was so much worse than the girl from before.
Suppose I wanted to go to 41. You mean because it's one flight now?
Everything's so much more intense, I love it.
What a terrible inconvenience. My God, I'm so sorry.
It's actually very entertaining. Just watching him being an idiot.
Enjoy that ride up to 44. 31, I think I'll get out here and take the stairs. Enjoy your ride.